Good morning, the team of Uprock. My name is Sylvie Chevanel and I explain my situation with Mr. Abul Hassan. Sorry for my translation because I'm Canadian French. Um, I made a YouTube video YouTube and I send a link for my information. Chronological testimony with precise time. Point 1. Background. On September 20, I hired another freelancer on Upwork, Mr. Abdul Bashed, for a problem with Google Merchant Center. He did an excellent job and I paid him in full. A few days later, I was suspended and that's when I decide to hire Mr. Abul Hassan. The contract. Before being paid, Mr. Abul had to correct the problem in my Google Merchant Center account, have the suspension lift, and ensure that I managed to run an advertising campaign on Google Ads without being suspended. Point 2. Initial instruction at 4:17 p.m. here. I explained to him everything that I had already been done in my file with the other freelancer. I clearly told him that it was not to repeat the same things and above all not to change anything without my authorization. Point 3. First audit. At 4:23 p.m. he sent me a quickly audit completed in about 10 minutes. He found 7 links with 404 errors. I had already checked with an application and hadn't seen any broken links, but I accept this point. Point 4. Problems with his Gmail. At 4:27 p.m. there was a first problem with the Gmail address he gave me to authorize his access. At 4:31 p.m. there was another error. At 4:32 p.m. he sent me a screenshot, but the problem persists. Here. This repeat error began to shake my confidence. Point 5. Postponement stop of work. At 5:21 p.m. Here. He told me he would start work the next morning because he was late at home, and I accept. The next day, I remained available all day sending his message, but at 7:55 a.m. he admitted that he added work at all because he was out of town. This broke my trust a second time. Point 6. Reminder of my instruction at 5:40 p.m. I sent in a message to tell him that I had made more correction during the night. At 9:55 p.m. I remind him very clearly for the fourth or fifth time that there was not to change anything without my authorization. At 12:34 a.m. here he replied that he would inform me for each change. Point 7. The next morning at 8:11 a.m. I told him again not to touch the policy as they had already been correct. At 8:24 a.m. he asked me about the pricing even though it was clearly stated 4.9 euro delivery charge for order under 50 euro and free delivery for orders over 50 euro. He didn't understand and I had to explain. Point 8. Misunderstanding of my information. At 1:19 p.m. he asked me to add a Canadian number to Google Merchant Center. I explained to him that I was selling in France and that I had already purchased a French number for the market. He didn't understand this point either. 9.9 Prohibited modification at 1:22 p.m. I wrote to him asking him not to change anything on the contact page. At 1:43 p.m., he sent me an audit. Here, at 1:50 p.m., I reply with my precise instruction to fix only the 7 broken link. At 1:56 p.m., I saw he had completely changed my footer and my contact page, something I had forbidden him to do. Here, at 2:12 p.m., here, I noticed that there were even syntax error in the new contact page, so I was forced to correct it myself and restore the page to its original state. Point 10. Link fixed too slow. At 9:31 a.m., he told me he was starting to work on the broken links. At 1:24 p.m., more than 3 hours later, I asked him if it was finished, and it still wasn't. Finally, he finished around 2:30 p.m., so about 5:30 hours for a task that should have taken 1 or 2:30 hours maximum. Point 11. Request of transferee at 2:26 p.m. In the end, they told me everything was fixed, but when I asked him to send me the list of the 7 correct links, he wasn't able to provide them. At 2:41 at 2:56 p.m., this was worry because I had noticed that deleting a link made a photo of one of my products disappear. I wanted to check for the others, but he couldn't provide me with this information. Here, Mr. Abdul one I hired on September 20 kept all the screenshot of what he had done. This further undermined my trust. Point 12. Refund proposal. At 2053 p.m., he himself told me exactly, you can get your refund. I don't need a budget for this project. He asked me how he could proceed to refund me 100%. So he himself offered a full refund. At 3 p.m., I accept the full refund. Here. Point 13. Contradiction and dispute. After offering a full refund, he then disputed it. This contradiction demonstrates his lack of professionalism and confirms that I could not longer trust him. Conclusion. I repeat my instruction several times. I provide clear evidence at each step, including the time. He modified elements without authorization, walked slowly, and lacks transparency. He offered a full refund himself, then retract. The contract I hired him for, confirmed by both parties, was never executed. Besides, I will hire Mr. Abdul Bashad on October 11. We have already discussed is because my account has not been unblocked, and even after Mr. Abul Hassan work. For all these reasons, I am asking Upwork for a full refund of the contract with Mr. Abul Hassan, but I am offering him $50 for work not done, and it is generously paid, and if he doesn't agree, I will go to arbitration with Upwork. Thank you very much. I finished I offering for at Mr. Abul Hassan $50 for the work is not done. It's okay for me. But if not agree, I will go to the arbitration with Upwork. Thank you very much.